fight over parental rights and transgender children's rights front and center today outside a New Jersey courthouse. Inside, the battle lines were drawn. On one side is the state of New Jersey.
There will be irreparable harm to transgender students if these policies are implemented.
And on the other side, 3 school boards arguing that parents need to be notified if their child decides to use a different name or different pronouns at school.
Parents have to be involved, and if the state has its way in this case, there will be no parental involvement in the first place.
NewsNation investigative correspondent Rich McHugh is outside that courthouse where the battle was underway today. Rich, this is not some fight over a curriculum or banning books. There are a lot of deep emotions about these policies.
No, Elizabeth, this is certainly heated. On one side, you have transgender activists and the state saying these new guidelines are discriminatory. The parents I spoke with, though, are angry, and they say this is about safeguarding children.
The debate began in June when Middletown Board of Education disagreed with New Jersey state guidelines, which say, quote, there is no affirmative duty for any school district personnel to notify a student's parent or guardian of the student's gender identity or expression. That means schools here will not notify a parent if their child is transitioning gender in school.
For the state to tell teachers to keep this a secret from their parents is just crossing the line.
Katerina Skolaski, mother of 3 kids in school here, spoke out against the state guidelines.
The state is interfering with my parental rights to raise my children, and they do not have a say on how my children are raised.
Middletown Board of Ed member Jacqueline Tobacco says the issue came to light last year when they realized some school teachers were using whiteout to change the names of some children on documents being sent home to parents.
We were basically being duplicitous to parents about what was actually going on with their children.
On June 20th, despite 3 hours of protest, the board issued new guidelines stating that if a child wishes to change their name or transition gender in school, their parents be notified.
Within 24 hours of us passing our policy, we were sued by the Attorney General.
The Attorney General alleging in the suit, quote, outing these students against their will poses serious mental health risks, threatens physical harm to students, including risking increased suicides. Frank Capone heads the Middletown Board of Education.
I just asked, like the governor and the attorney general, do you not want to know what's going on in your child's life?
Governor Murphy did not respond to our request for an interview. Respected transgender psychologist Dr. Erica Anderson advised the board on their guidelines.
The rightful authority for the health and well-being of children resides with parents. So to cut parents out of something so significant that's happening at school is a grave mistake.
Hi, good morning. My name is Erin Friday.
It's a debate playing out in states across America, and Erin Friday is a California mother and has become the voice of the resistance. She says that her daughter was transitioning as a freshman in public high school there, and the school hid it from her.
I was floored, angry.
Since then, Friday has been fighting in California to introduce a notification bill so schools cannot keep secrets from parents.
I decided that it was my duty to keep talking and telling my story, especially since I'm a Democrat of 37 years, and the press doesn't ever want to talk about the fact that Democratic parents are against this. It's always framed as a right-wing or a religious issue, and it's not. It's a parental issue, and it's a child safeguarding issue.
Back here in New Jersey, this could be a fight that rages on for months, even years.
Unfortunately, this right here is the hill that I die on. This cannot go any further.
You're not backing down.
I'll never back down to that governor.
Now, in court today, the state asked the judge that the current state policies remain in place. The judge said he would decide soon, didn't elaborate, said he would decide soon on whether the three new policies from the Board of Education could be used or could be implemented. Elizabeth?
For years, Rich.
It could be. I mean, that's what they speculated in court. The state said, we could probably get this done in 120 days. And then the judge said, are you serious? And they all kind of joked. And they said this could stretch on for years.
Wow. All right. Rich McHugh, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.